Yes, yes, yes. 3 yeses from off my chests and everything. But Instagram is saying you are now live. I want to appreciate everybody for joining on IG, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, across all platforms, man. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day. This is Gridiron Games, the show from an athlete, by an athlete, for athletes, everything from an athlete's perspective, where we talk about it all. We talk about transition. We talk about finance. We talk about love of the game. We talk about love in general. There's nothing off limits here on Gridiron Games. And so I am excited because, as usual, we're going to have a special guest. Can't wait to introduce him when he gets on here soon. But in the meantime, in between time, I hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful evening. We're going to get this thing cracking. Let's see. 1 second. Let me see how I get my brother in. Let me see how I get my brother in. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. That's the invite. Oh, I think we got it, y'all. There he is. There you go. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. P.J. Daniels, man. So honored to have you on, brother. So honored to have you on, man. I got to let the people know exactly who's on because, sometimes they can see a face, and we be in the helmet. We ain't like basketball players.
Right.
So we need to understand what we dealing with. First and foremost, if you from the SWAT, dubs up, dubs down, you know him as an Alief legend, right? If you from that way, right?
Hey,
If your jacket had to be yellow, but it ain't, it ain't that yellow jacket that y'all thinking about, but it's the yellow jacket from the collegiate space, then you know him as the RB record holder in bowl games, right? Or if you're a fan of the purple and black and you love it like that, then you might know him as a Mr. Baltimore Raven. We have brother P.J. Daniels on, man. Appreciate you for joining. Everybody's coming in now. This is going to be an amazing conversation, man. I'm excited to kick this thing off because I don't think people understand what they about to get with you, bro. I don't think they know. Somebody about to get their spirit changed today. So with that being said, PJ, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed. I'm in a great mood, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every single thing. Or should I start off by saying I am great, which makes me grateful.
I love that. I love that.
Mm,
Expound on that, man, because a lot of people might hear that and be like, okay, I'm trying to get with it. I'm trying to understand.
okay.
Why is it important for people to understand that gratefulness starts with the mentality of being great? What does that encompass?
Because we strive for so much in our life, right? We strive for greatness. Everybody, that's all everyone talks about. I'm striving for greatness. I'm striving for greatness. And they say that in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. But when do you become great?
Mm, that's real. That's real. It's because so what you're saying is they're always saying it, but where's the action behind it?
Where's the action behind saying I am great?
Yeah.
Right? They say the words I am are very powerful, and especially what comes after that. So when you say I am great, in order to reach that high level of greatness, you have to be grateful. You have to be grateful for every single roadblock it took for you to get there, for every single stone step that was there for you to ascend, to get to the highest point. To understand, in order to be great, you have to be grateful for every single moment that you are living, whether it's good, whether it's bad, because the bad teaches you about the good teaches you about the bad. And when you can understand those little bitty moments of life, when you show appreciation, when you find gratitude in those moments, man, you find greatness and you live into your greatness and you become very, very, very appreciative of those things. And that's how you start to become great and live in that greatness.
Man, listen, bro. You already got me hyped,
But
man. We
hey,
getting hundreds in
hey,
here.
hey,
We
what's
getting
up,
hearts in
baby?
here.
Hey, I ain't come here.
Hey, man, listen, man. You ain't come
Look,
to play today, bro. You
I
ain't
ain't
come.
come to
Listen,
play. Hey, I
Yeah,
got my,
man.
I got my,
They gonna pass the collection plate in a minute, man. Shout out to everybody that's on, man. PJ, let's give some people a little background so they can understand what's going on and where this wisdom is coming from, man. Listen, you grew up in
Cool.
Alief, Texas, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a community. It's a community known for being able to having to overcome adversity. It's
Absolutely.
known to put you in. It's known to put you in spaces to where you have to make particular decisions on
Mm.
if you're going to go one direction or go another direction, man. But it's also a diverse
Yeah.
place. A diverse
Yeah.
place.
Yes.
Um, Talk about your upbringing. Talk
Mm.
about because I know you personally, so how your father inspired you to want to
Yeah.
become the best version of yourself, even in a space to where you could have went either way. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah. So, man, my upbringing in Southwest Alief, Texas. Shout outs to O'Donnell. Shout outs to L6. Shout
Yeah.
outs to Hastings. Shout outs to everybody out there. Kilo. I'm naming all the schools, man. You know, Albright, everything, man.
Yeah, man.
But growing up, shout out to Spice Lane. Growing up in that area, it was a difficult area for us to grow up in. It wasn't the environment. It was like the flower that grew out of the concrete.
Yeah.
Because you had a little bit of everything, just like in all the low. I wouldn't call it a low end poverty area, but it was just the people that were there. It was a mixture of all cultures.
Yeah.
And so when you have a mixture of a lot of cultures, you get people from different walks of life. And so for me, man, I came into that space. I was living actually on the opposite side of town. I was living in Pasadena with my mom and my sister and my brothers. But I went to go live with my father. My father, I wasn't staying with my father at the time. They got a divorce when I was young. And um, when I was 13, 14, it was time for me to go see a man. They say in order to be a man, you got to see a man.
Mm.
And so I had to go and spend time with my father. Because at that time I was either gonna go left or I was either gonna go right.
Yeah.
And so my family, they wanted me to go right. And my dad convinced my mother to let me go and stay with him. And and man, when I got to A-Leaf, I was on my own. I had to figure out things and I had to figure out things quickly because it's just a different you get tested, you get checked by people. They got gangs there. They have people there that's not really focused on adding value to their life.
Mm.
And so my father, who is from a different country, he's immigrant mindset. He's always talking about your studies, your education. That's the only thing that will get you out of this,
Shout out to
So
Mr. D,
so
man.
my father, being from Ghana and Togo, he had a different mindset. So this wasn't a mindset that I grew up with, but I had the loyalty and the royalty inside my DNA.
Yeah.
So I just needed the environment to help discipline me. And so he set the framework, he set the standards for what's important. And in order for me to, one thing that I really liked was competition and playing ball. So in order for me to do that, I had to get good grades. I had to study my books. I had to make sure that I was top in my class when it came to the educational part. And that right there pushed me to stay focused on the things that were important and make sure that I made my father proud because that was the one thing that he would harp on every single time I come home, And if I had a B, he was telling me that I wasn't trying hard enough.
Mm. Mm.
And so the standards were there. The man was there. The discipline was there. The accountability was there. Every Saturday morning, I had to wake up and cut the grass. Had to clean the house. I could put music on, but I still got to do these things every single Saturday. And if it wasn't clean and I was trying to rush out the house, he'll make me go back and clean it again. If I had a white shirt on and I didn't dust off something, he'll run his finger over the dust or over that object and smeared on my shirt. And I was like, come on, man. At that time I'm fresh deaf, my pants starts down, I'm looking good. And he didn't put some dirt on my shirt, man. So it taught me how to whenever you start something, you have to finish it.
Mm,
And that is the exact thing that I needed to learn how to become a man, somebody that can hold me accountable for the things that I do, and someone that can put my hand to the fire and make sure that I stay cool whenever a situation does get or chaotic. Just be cool,
yeah,
because that's who you are. You're
yeah,
made for this. So yeah, man. So that was my upbringing in Southwest East Texas, baby.
man. Listen, bro, you dropped so many gems on there, bro. I'm gonna
Mm,
unpack a couple of them. One of them, the thing that you talked about is shout out to moms, man. Shout out to
mm.
moms understanding
Shout
that you know what this is
out to
my
mom.
baby, but
Yeah.
I know the guidance that he needs,
Mm,
especially with him getting ready to elevate into this space of manhood. And there's a lot of
absolutely.
women, man, that that I can only speak to what I've talked to. There's a lot of
Hmm.
women that go back and say that I wish I wouldn't have been
Wish.
influenced by outside sources and would have let
Yes.
my son go be with his dad because his daddy asked for him, but because of my
Oh.
selfishness, I didn't do it.
Mm,
And now
mm.
some of them pan out well, some of them
Yeah.
move in another space to where you have a lot of
Right.
overly emotional men. When you go and you look back on where that
Yeah.
comes from, a lot of that comes from the woman, right? Because you take on your whatever
Absolutely.
your environment is, right? So
Absolutely.
you're a product of what you see, especially when you're a mind that is still being developed. So if all
Yeah.
you see is people being emotional, then you'll take on that characteristic. And that might be unpopular to some that hear this, but it is the reality of what we see. Like these are facts. Like you
Right.
you can be mad at me, but you can't argue the facts, and that's what we see. So shout out to mom
Absolutely.
for that. Pops
Shout outs to
taking
mom.
you in, giving you that discipline. That is so
Hmm.
important because it goes to show you that I don't believe that we're a product of our environment, DJ.
Mm.
I believe we're a product of our decisions, right? And
Ooh.
so people will say, well,
Boy.
your environment dictates your decisions. No, it doesn't, because your
Mm.
father, his experience, right? His
Right.
experiences in different places and his knowledge
Hmm.
base of things,
Hmm.
even in Alief, Texas, which
Yeah.
people don't know, but at one point was right up there with the murder capital at one point. Even
Absolutely.
being in that environment, you still go on to A and B honor roll, have all these academic honors on top of your physical prowess when it came to football. And the
Absolutely.
thing is that you led in two different ways as a high school
Hmm.
athlete. At least for me, I
Mm.
know, and everybody that came up under you would know this. You led by example, but you also led by positive affirmation. So
Mm.
guys saw you do it
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
believed that they could do it.
You
And it
can do it.
shifted the
Exactly.
whole mentality of a lot of cats when they seen their partner that they was just blocking for on the
Yep.
main screen. DJ Daniels, Alief Elsik High School.
Mm.
Like it's a whole now people's minds is blown because it's like, bro, I can do that. So shout
Right.
out to you, man, for taking on that journey. And here's
Mm.
the thing, because I as I'm understanding your background and like Pops used to say, it is your studies. Like how he came
Yeah.
with you, man.
Your books. Your
Yes.
books.
So that goes into the understanding of your major, right? When you go to
Hmm.
Georgia Tech, because you
Mm.
majored in management, but you minored in chemistry. Both of
Yeah.
those are not fly by just trying to pass so I can go to the league type classes. Those are
All right.
those are like intrinsic,
Mm.
external sweat, brain sweat study
Yeah.
majors. What
Exactly.
drove you to choose those type of majors? Because I think that gives people some insight into who you are as a person.
Yeah. Man, so what drove me to choose that major and that minor was uh, so business management. So at the time, like Georgia Tech was really, really difficult, a difficult school.
Mm,
So the business management, they kind of had it was more when you are at a very challenging institution. What happens is you're trying to find balance in being a student athlete and the academic version of yourself, right? And so the business management was something that a lot of the athletes were doing at the time. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. But as I got into that space, because I wanted to learn about managing businesses, chemistry was just something that I was always curious about. I was really good at it in high school, and I wanted to pursue it more in college. The amino acids, just I wanted to learn about the chemical reactions,
Yep.
and I told myself, all right, so if I can major in this and minor in this, then that will keep me focused on my studies. One, because I won't have time to do too many other things to get myself in some mischief. And two, it's going to apply on the field as well, uh, because my thing was I wanted to be intellectual while I was on the field, because the thing is, if I see something, I can do it. I know I can do it. But I wanted to understand how my mind advanced. And so the way that I learned how to do that was learning how to push myself mentally. So once I
Mm.
pushed myself mentally in the classroom, whenever I would get on the field, I would be able to push myself mentally as well. And I would start calculating things. And I can tell you later how that opened up once I was drafted to the Ravens. But I don't want to jump too soon, man. I just want to
Yeah.
just stop right there.
No, no, no. Listen, that's so important, bro. I think people look at the sport and they only look at it. Okay, he got the ball, he ran it this way, or he
Mm,
tackled him, or okay, he threw that
right,
ball and he kicked it. And it's like a lot of people, you got your armchair quarterbacks, of course, but most people just look at the game based off of what happened, right? But the nuance,
right.
like, and what I'm
Mm,
hearing from you is that because you challenged yourself academically, you were able
yes,
to take same experiences and see the game in a whole different way, which allowed
absolutely,
you now to elevate yourself to the highest level where everybody wants to go to, which is the NFL. But before we go
absolutely.
there, man, how talk about when you want to talk about a work ethic, 3,300 yards,
Mm, yeah,
360 receiving yards,
yeah.
230 kick return yards. They
Mm.
better get in your background.
They better get in my
26
background, baby.
26 all-purpose
Yeah,
touchdowns. Man,
yeah.
you
Wow.
had when it's crazy when people read your stats
Yeah,
back to you, but you had to fight, bro. It wasn't just like, oh, okay, here's PJ from Elsick, he's our guy. Walk
right.
people through the adversity that you
Mm,
had to go
mm.
through just to get to those particular numbers for people now to see your greatness after it's been done.
Wow. Wow, I never knew those statistics. So let's start off by high school. So I didn't get a scholarship. I didn't get your traditional scholarship. I didn't pass the SAT or have the passing score for the SAT, ACT, those
Mm.
standardized tests. And so let's start off right there. So now I got a hope and a dream. So I didn't get a scholarship, but I was one of the that was top ranked in Texas in terms of running back. They had Cedric Benson, they had Alvin, the brother that was from Pearland. They had a couple other big name running backs. I was in the top five of them, top five, top 10. And so I didn't get a scholarship, man. And I got offers from a lot of other schools. And so since I didn't get a scholarship, it just kind of fell in the background. So uh, one of the coaches from Georgia Tech, his name is Lance Thompson. Shout out to Lance Thompson. He's at the University of Maryland right now. He came to recruit uh, Ike, one of our defensive linemen at the time, from Georgia Tech. He came to Elsick to recruit him. And Coach Bill Barron, our high school former
Mm-hmm.
high school coach, shout out to Bill Barron.
Mm-hmm.
He told the coach, "Hey, we got a diamond in the rough." The coach saw a video of me, and all he saw was one play. I jumped over somebody, ran over somebody, and scored an 80-yard touchdown. He was like, "That's all I need to see. Let me meet the kid." So had an opportunity to meet coach. I did an unofficial visit to Georgia Tech, but I had a scholarship offer to North Texas,
Mm.
and and uh, I took my visit. First time I got drunk. Last time I got drunk. I was like, I ain't going here. so I so I turned on that scholarship to Denton, Texas, and everybody thought I was crazy. And I only turned it down because I got drunk. And I
Yeah,
was like, alcohol ain't for me. I ain't trying to
yeah,
do this.
yeah,
If this is how it's gonna be every weekend, I ain't that's not me. That's not what I want to do. So I
yeah,
turned that down. So now I don't have no scholarship. About 3, 4 weeks later, that's when I met the coach, Coach Lance Thompson. And we talked, got a chance to go to Georgia Tech. They said, okay, we can't give you a scholarship, but you can be a walk-on. I was like, cool. I don't know what that means, but I got you, you know, and I didn't know what it meant. That mean my folks had to pay for my school. I didn't know. You know, I was just happy to get out of Texas. So uh, that was a struggle for my family right
mm,
there, because they was expecting for me to get a scholarship because I was an athletic student.
yeah,
And so, and I had good grades as well. So now we're fast forwarding. So I get to Georgia Tech. I got accepted into Georgia Tech. I had to write essay to get accepted into Georgia Tech. So that's something completely new because athletes didn't have to
yeah,
do that. Right.
yeah,
So I had to do that. So now I get accepted. I'm like, all right, cool. I got accepted to Georgia Tech. Now when I say a big fish, I mean I'm a small fish in the ocean. Man, I was, man, because I wasn't a scholarship player. I was a non-scholarship player. So that means they didn't invest in
yeah.
me. They didn't invest
Oh,
in my
oh,
skills in
they didn't see
anything.
your potential.
They
They didn't see
they
it
didn't see
early. Okay.
it was no potential.
Yeah,
I had no potential at all to them, man. And
yeah.
so for me, it was more of a it was more of a situation where you don't have nothing. You just here. You're just a body, right?
Mm,
So you're a walk on. So that was the first thing. You know, I'm a walk on, and so with being a walk on, the only thing that I had an opportunity to do was just that walk on,
yeah,
walk on to the Georgia Tech football team who they had like great players. They had. You know, Joe Burns, Tony Hollins, like George Godsey, like they had all of these big name football players, and you know, all I had was a hope and a dream. You know, and I wouldn't even say hope because I don't like to use the word hope because that's a weak word.
mm,
But I had aspiration and I had a dream, and I I said to myself, when I get here, I'm going to make great grades and I'm going to be a starting running back at Georgia Tech.
mm.
Join the football team. Well, I walk onto the football team, and uh, I'm number seventh on the depth chart.
Yep.
So that means there's one, two, three, four, five, six other running backs in front of me before I can even get a chance to touch the field. Sometimes I would be in practice and I will only get
Mm,
one play live. That's it. So I had all this energy pent up. I was angry, wanted to get any reps, and then the reps that I were getting, it had to be on scout team.
yeah.
And doing scout team, you got to run whatever's on the card.
Yep.
You can't do anything else. You cannot enhance your skills.
Yep.
You got to do what the coach tell you to do. If you don't do that, you're gonna get shouted at. You're gonna get berated, put down. They're gonna tell you how you're a worthless piece of this and that.
Yeah.
So it was just so many things happening all at once, and not just that. I'm trying to go hard every play, and every time I try to go hard every play, the vets are like, "Hey, freshman, you need to calm yourself down, dog. You're going a little too hard."
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, nigga, don't be talking to me like that. Whatever. I'm from H Town, baby. What it
Yeah.
do? You know, I'm from
Yeah.
that West.
Yeah.
And they like, yeah, whatever. So get into it with my teammates. You know, now we fighting. Now I'm fighting, and little do they know, shoot, I'm angry. You know, when I get angry, I get angry. I'm like one step away from, you know,
Blackout mode.
catching, yeah, catching in when they just laughing and giggling. I'm like, I'm about to hit you where it hurt. You know, so I had to fight through that adversity. I
Yeah.
had to fight through, uh, um, since I didn't have money, I wasn't on scholarship. I didn't get a chance to go eat at the cafeteria. So I
Mm,
had to wait outside for my teammates, whatever was left over, they would wrap some food up for me in a napkin and bring it. hitting them up. Hey man, can you bring some food out from the cafeteria so I can eat tonight? Like I was going through a struggle,
Yeah.
you know, and so and I got to go back to practice, and not to mention the offensive coordinator there, Bill O'Brien. Shout out to Bill O'Brien. I don't like the dude, but I'm still gonna give him a shout out because if it wasn't for him,
Yeah.
you know, I would not have turned on the prince that
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So but it's like a shout out, but not really a shout out. Anywho, he
I
didn't give me
appreciate
a playbook.
part in opening up the 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 side of me that I didn't know existed because that allowed me to elevate. We can do it. We
Yeah,
can leave it at that. Yeah.
yeah,
I have a
exactly.
question for you though, Prince. I have a question because I often say, man, before anybody sees the glory, there's a story, and everybody sees the
Mm,
trees, but they don't see the roots, man. You in your darkness
hey,
moment.
yeah,
You're in your darkness moment. There has to be some sort of pride thing that we're dealing with too, because you just left a place to where, bro, you the man. Like they're
I
writing
know.
articles on you every time
Yeah,
you walk in school. The teachers know you. Principals giving you high five. All the young middle school kids come to watch you. They saying, "I want to be like him." Like you got all of this
mm,
going, and
mm,
then you actually choose the harder road, which was the right
yeah,
road for you, because
mm, yeah,
you had the easiness at UNT to say, "Hey, we want you, we love you," but you
absolutely.
recognize that this wouldn't be good for me the way that y'all moving, so I'm gonna go to this other place, not knowing what to expect. And when you get there, man, it is pure chaos, disrespect, utter disappointment, bro. Like these are all the things that I'm hearing from your story.
Absolutely.
My question to you is, man, what was that thing intrinsically inside of you that caused you to say that no matter what I'm feeling or what it perceives to be right now, I see a better future for myself. I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna go
Mm,
through it. Like what caused you to drive through that adversity so that you could get to the promised land?
man. Ooh, it's a combination of things, man. It was a combination of my parents, my like my family. I grew up in a big family, a big loving, supporting family.
Mm,
And when I would call them, like I have four uncles on my mother's side, and when I would call my uncles to lament about what I was going through, you know, I'm just like, I want to quit. I want to do this. The coach, he screamed and shouted at me. He cursed me out today. And I remember one of my uncles. He said, my uncle Tim. He said, "Did they kick you off the team?" I said, "No." He's like, "Well, stay there."
mm,
I was like, "But you not hearing me." He's like, "I hear you. Stay there." And so it was either you either drown or you better learn how to
mm,
swim. And if you learn how to swim, you better learn how to swim like a fish, like
mm,
a shark. You
mm,
better learn how to do it. And so at that time, I was big on reading. So I was reading a book on Walter Payton.
mm,
I think it was Never Die Easy. And he would always talk about his workouts with Jerry Rice and how the workouts would be so intense, running up hills, doing the extra stuff. And that's what I would do at Elsick.
yeah.
I would after practice we'd get on the field and we'll run, right? It was just a mentality for me, like don't stop, like don't stop, don't create any room for doubt, any room for fear. It's in you. It's in you. It just has to come out, and so you got to look within. And so I would always turn within. I say my prayer, I do my meditation, and I would get to it. And
Mm.
that was that determination. And so, man, fast forward, my coach basically told me that, and this is what triggered O'Brien. He told me that I suck, that my chances of making it to playing at Georgia Tech were 1 in a million, my chance of making it to the NFL are 1 in a billion. He said I'm not his favorite. He said, I'm too mechanical and I got a better chance at playing at the University of Brown where he went. He said he can call up some of his friends, but I'll never ever play at Georgia Tech and that I suck and I'll get the F out of his office.
Mm.
Man, at that time, all I could think about was Latrell Sprewell, in the headlines, how he choked his coach. And I was ready to make them I was ready to make them headlines, man.
Absolutely.
Because I was so determined. But see, I was already doing that hard work, doing the extra stuff, and like you said, the pride thing, right? I came from a place in Texas where that's we eat and live
Yeah.
football, right? And I'm the man there, and now I get on campus, and I'm not even a man. I'm not even a boy.
Mm.
I'm the little kid. That's like, get your little baby kid ass on,
Yeah.
So I'm the illegitimate child there,
Mm.
and I'm getting no love, and I'm having to navigate myself throughout every single season, every single day, week, month, and and just to stay afloat. But it wasn't until my coach had said to me, like, you suck, get the F out of my office. He looked to embarrass me in front of everybody. I remember saying to myself, like, don't cry in front of this dude. Don't you let no motherfucking tear come down your face. Excuse me for my language,
Yeah. No, it's
but
real.
that's how I was feeling.
Yeah.
Right? I was just like, and to be honest, I was like, don't you cry in front of this white man.
Yeah.
Don't you show no tear.
Yeah.
You show nothing but strength. And at the time, I'm 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
I
That's
come
tough.
from a sheltered home, education, books, this. So when I'm looking at the situation, I'm like, what did I do to this person? I felt that I did something wrong to the individual, but I didn't. He just told me, he said, I just don't like you.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, I didn't know that these people exist. Well, they just don't like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
They just
man.
don't like you. And so that moment right there, when he told me that I sucked and I wasn't enough, to go and sit down with myself. And I sat down with myself. And I remember at the time it was during the spring. It was right at the spring ball. We had to take the exit meeting. He told me that. We had other players lined up. He had his office door wide open. See, the guy before me, he closed the office door so they can talk in private.
Mm.
Me, he left the door wide open. He shouting at me, doing this, telling me that. I had to walk out in front of everybody. They had a line. They was like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, P." I was like, "Don't touch me! Don't
Yeah.
touch me! Don't touch me! Don't you touch me! I don't need nobody pity." Like, I was angry. I was like, "I don't need nothing from nobody. I can
Yeah.
stand on my own 2 feet." Plus, if anybody would touch me, I'd probably be like, "Oh my God." So,
Yeah.
it was just in me. And man, I had to sit down. I was just like, God, what did I do wrong? Like, man, what's up? What's up? What's up? And from that day on, that was like spring. So you got about 3, 4 months. Man, I went back to my room. Remember, I was waiting on the bus. I was at the bus stop, waiting on the bus. And I had my backpack on. I had a couple of books in my bag. Uh, and I just remember one of my coaches, shout out Coach D, he just passed away, RIP. Um, um, uh, Delisandro, he was a coach for the Ravens, but he coached me at Georgia Tech as well, the offensive line coach.
Yeah.
He um he drove by. He said, "P, keep your head up, baby." He was like, because you got what all the other running backs and nobody on this team have. And I just remember I had my head down. I looked up at him. I was like, "What is that, coach?" He said, "You got heart." He
Mm.
said, "You got heart." That's what he told
Mm.
me. He said, "You got heart." I'll never forget that moment. And when he told me that, man, a tear just came down my face. At this point, I'm sitting outside. It's like nobody's around. It's like it's desolate. It's springtime. The bus comes like every 30 minutes instead of every 15 minutes, and the bus didn't come. And he drove by. He said that, and he was just like, "Man, forget the other coach, man." And man, he drove off. And when he drove off, I stood up and I was like, "I ain't gonna never let nobody ever take my dream away from me. It's my motherfucking dream."
Yeah.
So I tightened up my backpack, man, and I took off running to the other side of campus. I'm talking about tears streaming down my face. I was like, "Fuck you! You don't think I'm good enough? Like, you don't know who the fuck you talking, bitch? You got me fucked up." I'm running, I'm crying, I'm angry. I'm huffing and puffing, but at the same time, I could not stop. I get to my dorm room, take my backpack off, put my workout clothes on, and I worked out until I passed out.
Mm. Mm. Bro, that is, I can feel the passion and you reliving that moment. I understand in life, man, there's dream builders and there's dream killers. And the ones that we give the energy to is the space that we flow to. But
Mm,
I have a similar situation because, when I got into the league, man, Mel Kiper, Tony, he's a project player. He might play 3 years. Well, I played almost. I go to Carolina, and there's a particular offensive line coach. I'm year 6 in. I'm getting ready to be released from them because we had an altercation. We didn't get along. I just don't do well with disrespect. And so
right.
I knew what time it was. I already had my bags packed or whatever. He's saying, yeah, this might be your last road. I was like, bro, you're not God and you don't dictate my future. 2 weeks
Mm,
later, I got picked up by the New Orleans Saints, started
there
against
we
Carolina,
go.
fed them boys.
Mm,
So,
mm,
Ray Brown was on the other side. So when he came over, he was
right.
like, how you doing, big fella? So we have those redemptive moments. When
Right.
Bill O'Brien told you that and all of that anger was within inside of you,
Yeah.
instead of you allowing that to tear you down, you allowed it to unleash something within us, man. I call it the darkness. And if it's
Mm,
used the proper way, man, it can catapult us to an amazing feat. So much so
yeah.
to where you end up becoming a starting running back, the guy that quote
Yeah.
unquote sucks, the guy that quote unquote will never play at Georgia Tech. You end up becoming the starting running back. And then you did something unprecedented, man.
Mm,
While you were at Georgia Tech, you set a rushing record with 311 yards and 4 touchdowns in the 2004 Humanitarian Bowl.
yeah.
That's the redemptive period. Tell me how that felt for you a year later when you were being told that you're terrible, you're trash, I don't want you here, and now you are a record-setting running back in the NCAA. How does the emotions and the elation and all of the hard work and belief in yourself, walk me through that process for you?
Man, to be honest, it wasn't no emotion. It was all greatness. You
Mm,
know, I was in the zone.
yeah.
It was just it was happening. I wasn't trying to force anything. I was sitting back and observing what God created. And for me, it was like a euphoric moment. It's
Hmm.
like, wow, I'm able to do this. Wow, that's awesome. Wow, look how big those holes are. Like, dang, my alignment just straight up punished him. So I could see the game. I was just watching everyone and just looking around. It's like, wow, okay, now football has slowed down for me.
Mm,
And that's what happened. Everything slowed down. Once everything slowed down, the game was a different game. And I was just out there just having a good time
yeah.
from that moment on. But I had put that hard work in. And so, like you said, you're in the darkness phase of everything. And once you get to the light, your awareness
That
comes
part.
on. Your mind becomes illuminated. Now you
Yeah.
start to see, like, oh, this is how this works. This is what's going on when it's slowed down. And that's what I remind people, even when I talk about my spirituality, even when I talk about meditation, talk about you're in the darkness. But it's like the when the light comes on, when the sun comes up, or when we rotate around the sun and that light shines, you can see everything.
Yeah.
And now you become aware of where everything
Yeah.
is. And that's exactly how it felt, man. And so, man, to just give you one word to describe what I was going through was like a euphoric uh, um, situation. I was going through euphoria.
Mm. You know what's so important about what you said? You used a word that I absolutely adore, awareness. One of the things,
Mm,
one of the things that I know to be true from experience is that
yeah,
people don't lack opportunities. People
yeah.
lack awareness of the opportunities around them.
There's nothing new under the sun.
It's not. It's not, man. It's not. And I believe that the God puts his strongest battles on his stronger soldiers, man. And so
Mm,
if people
that
are
part.
listening to this story, I want them to understand that this is an 18 or 19, not looking at the grown man that we see before us, but we're seeing the maturation of an 18 and 19-year-old kid who's basically gone to a school and where you're supposed to go to a university, and that university and those people at that university have a responsibility of building up young men, not only who they are as people, not only their character, not and their physical prowess in the sports space that they're in, but also you're going to another man who's supposed to give you insight on what manhood is about. And quiet is
Absolutely.
kept, man. It's no secret in the NFL that Bill O'Brien is a douchebag. So we're not going to act like we know. And that's the reason why he's had the non-success that he's had, right? Because
Absolutely.
karma is a real thing. Reaping what you
Yeah.
sow is a real thing. Whatever it is that you believe in, you
Yeah.
can't put negative things into the atmosphere and think negative things are not gonna happen. So he's getting his. But the credit to this is about you, man, and the credit you for being able um, to resist that hatred,
Mm.
because that's what it
Absolutely.
was, which is why
Absolutely.
I named this segment from the field with purpose, right? And
Hmm.
how you came up with your blueprint for success, because this is a success. You went from
Yeah.
being a walk-on, bro, to being
Mm-hmm.
fourth round draft pick with the
Mm.
132nd pick to the Baltimore Ravens. And let's put
Yes.
this into perspective, bro.
Mm.
Not saying the game afterwards, but just looking at this particular moment of draft. Bro, at that
Mm-hmm.
particular time you were drafted, the walk-on was drafted higher than Tom Brady. The walk-on
Mm.
was drafted higher than Antonio Brown, right?
Mm.
There's so
Mm-hmm.
many athletes that are superstars to
Absolutely.
where I'm a walk-on, but look where I've ended up. And so you get to Baltimore. Talk to
Mm-hmm.
me about what that feeling was like when you got that phone call and you went to a place to where they said, we'll take you, but we don't really want you. From now going to the professional league, and the league calling and saying, you're our guy. How does that feel?
Mm. Man, it made me feel like I was accepted, like I was wanted, like they saw my value.
Mm.
But at the same time, I still felt that I should have went on the first day. I think we all feel like
As
that,
we
right?
all do. As we all do.
Right? Exactly, exactly. But it that was for the first time where I felt how I felt when I was in high school. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm the man now, right? And now I have this opportunity to prove myself in front of the great people, in front of the Ray Lewises, the Ed Reeds, the
Mm.
Samari Rose, the Chris McAllister, the Terrell Suggs, the Haloti Nantas. Like, this is my defense. This is my defense. The Kelly Greggs, the Troy Price. I mean, like, I'm going against this defense every single day. So if when I got the phone call, I was in New York with Vince Young at the time and my family. And I remember my mom and sister. I was in my hotel room. They were in their hotel room, and nobody called me. My agent was just like, "Hey, just be cool." At the time, I think I was at Major Adams. He was like, "Just be cool." And all of a sudden, I get a phone call from Baltimore and somebody else. I don't remember who the other team was, but Baltimore called me. They said, "Hey, has anybody called you?" And I said, "No." So they said, "Okay, cool. We're gonna call you back." So I'm like, "What you mean gonna call me back?" Then I get another call and just like, "Hey, has anybody called you?" I was like, "Yeah, Baltimore just called me." It was like, "All right, cool." So anyway, it was like, "We're gonna call you back." So I'm like, "Man, what's going on? I'm tripping." I'm like, I'm done watching the draft. I didn't get picked up on the first day. I ain't trying to watch the draft no more, man. And I get in the shower and my phone rings, and my phone rings just like, "Hey, this is who was it at the time? I think it was Ozzie. This is Ozzie Newsome, the GM for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm here with the head coach, with Brian Billick, and uh, we want to choose you for our next pick, 132nd pick, fourth round." I was like, "What? What? Okay,
Yeah.
right." So I'm like, "What's going on?" So then I jump out the shower. As I jump out the shower, I'm trying to find my clothes. I'm putting some clothes on. Man, I still got soap in my ear. I'm like, right. So I'm watching the TV, and man, Mel Kiper comes up on TV. Mel Kiper Jr. comes up, and he was just like, "Man, this is a great pick for the Baltimore Ravens." My name flashing across the TV. I'm seeing highlight plays. I'm like, "Dang, that's me!" And so
Yeah, man.
they calling me. I mean, they called me, and now the ticker is going down, and I'm like, what? It was just so much stimulation happening at the time, and so they just told me that it's like, hey, we want to choose you as our next pick. So it's about to happen. So I'm looking at the countdown on TV. They choose me. Mel Copper comes on. About 2 minutes later, my doors just did beat on. Boom, 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 bam, dog. Boom, 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 boom. My mom and my sister, they run into the room. We over there celebrating. They're like, ah! You know, I'm like, I ain't gonna let you down. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it popping. When do I
Yeah,
start? you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so it was just a beautiful moment to share with your family.
Mm.
It was very exciting, but at the same time, very rewarding. And to know that you're wanted and accepted, man, that was incredible. And so I had the mentality of Michael Jordan, of Kobe Bryant, like, all right, when I get here, it's work time. You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be going up against the number one defense in the NFL. Between number one and number two, you know, is the Steelers. The Steelers was number two at the time. I was like, so when I get to them, I'm gonna be putting up 100 yards on them. When I get to the 32nd, defense, I'm about to be putting up 200 yards on them. You
yeah.
know, so I
You
already
start
started
doing the
calculating
math,
it in my mind. Yeah, man, I'm just like like I'm ready to dominate, right? So that's how that went, man. But that was just such a beautiful time, and I'm just happy to share that moment. I
man.
appreciate you
Absolutely.
asking
You
that.
know, many people will never get to experience the elation and the feeling of what that looks like, man. To have a professional team say, "Hey, we want you to come in. We want you to be a part of our club, man." You got to
Absolutely.
experience that, and with that comes a certain expectation, not only that they have for you, but that you have on yourself.
Hmm.
But at the same time, we know, life is what life is, man. And so sometimes
Right.
things always go the way that we want it to go. Can
Hmm.
you? This is a very pivotal part of the show right here, where we talk about the transitional phase.
Yeah.
Can you kind of go into that thought process, because it wasn't your lack of ability that didn't
Hmm.
allow you to have that long tenured career that you probably thought you were going to have. It
Right.
was that your body didn't allow you to do that. Can you talk? Because a lot of athletes have experienced that. Can you touch
Yeah.
on that part, and
Yeah.
then also talk about the part of now having to do something totally different than what you thought,
Mm,
because now we're in a different space and time in life, and this dream that I once had has the proverbial door has now closed on it,
mm,
and now
mm,
it's time to
mm.
open up another one. What was that process like for you?
Oh man, thank you for saying that. That's a beautiful question. So my career only lasted for 3 years and some change, and man, it was tough because what got me there wasn't the same formula that I needed to use to help me prevail.
Mm,
You know, and a lot of times we get caught up in that because that's all that we know
yeah,
from a psychological and mental standpoint. Hard work, hard work, hard work. So I only knew hard work. I didn't understand the balance of it's okay to chill out just for a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah,
It's okay to let other people get reps. It's okay. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be this. You don't have to continue to keep proving yourself. Right? You can that chip that's on your shoulder, let it go. Like you got
mm,
this. Like they talking to you. I needed a mentor. I needed somebody to talk to me to tell me, like, Rook, you good, man.
yeah,
Like my cousin Steve McNair, I had a chance to play with him, and I would go and sit down and talk with him, and he would always tell me, "Hey, hey, nephew, you good, cuz? Like you good, man, you good. Don't worry about it. Just chill. You good." But I didn't know how to chill. I didn't know how to stop, and so um, uh, it was just one gear, go hard, go hard. And so when it was time for me to start playing, I'd already went too hard, so I burned out my
yeah,
gears.
yeah,
So like little injuries here and there, and I didn't know how to take care of my body properly and how they do today, right? And
yeah,
they also give the nutrition is like the biggest thing now, and we have so much technology to help the athletes now, but I didn't have that back then, and I didn't understand the importance of taking care of my
yeah.
body, and my body is my business.
Mm,
And so for me, um, I didn't understand the business side of the game, and I didn't understand my body or taking care of my body in that way. So I understood, you beat it up and you kind of do some things here and there to repair it, but it's going to heal on its own.
Correct.
But I needed more work done. So anyway, my career was cut short because I would always get injured right before the season began.
Mm,
And so on paper, it looked like I was injury prone,
yeah.
but I didn't have many injuries. I just would hurt myself at a time where, okay, the season's about to begin, and boom, I get hurt. I'm like, man, like what's going on? See, my rookie year, I didn't play because that was my developmental year, and they thought that I wasn't ready. But they said since we have a lot of running backs, we had Jamal Lewis, we had Musa Smith, we had Mike Anderson, we had some titans on our team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was growing up behind them, but I was learning vicariously through them, and I was picking up on every single thing. And in practice, I would I would hit Ray Lewis. I would block Ray Lewis in practice, and but he would sling me like a little piece of paper. I'm like, God, dog, he's strong, right? Like that man is strong, but my teammates would come and congratulate me. Now, this is a moment where I realized, like, oh, this is how football works. And they were patting me on the head and they were like, congratulations, man, good job, good job. I was like, for what, man? He just threw me like a piece of paper. They was like, did he get the quarterback? I was like, no. They was like, well, you did your job. I was like, oh, that's what you gotta do. That's how it works. Right.
Yeah.
So I got off track, but I'm getting back onto this. So those things, those teaching moments, that's when I started really understanding football and understanding the game. By the time I was ready to apply all the information, the Ravens wanted to go in a different direction
Mm,
because I was getting injured, and then I didn't understand about mental health. I was going through a depression because I wasn't able to contribute, wasn't able to get out there on the field. You know what they always say: if you in the training room, you got the ski mask on, and you robbing, you getting a free paycheck, right?
yeah.
So that was all getting to me from an emotional standpoint, psychological standpoint. So I just sequestered myself. I separated myself from the organization and just kind of went into my own silo and didn't reach out to anybody. And then when I just kind of like showed back up and was just like, hey, I'm ready to reconnect. They was like, man, we're gonna go in a different direction. So at that time, man, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know who to call on. I felt like I was the only one in my family in life going through that situation, through that transition when I
Yeah.
was let go from the Ravens. And man, man, for a long time, I had struggled with my self identity.
Mm,
Like I didn't know myself outside of the running back for Baltimore Ravens, PJ Daniels
yeah.
or Prince Daniels. If you heard what I said, the running back,
Yeah.
I identify myself as the running back before I identify myself as my name.
Yeah.
You know, so that's that from a psychological standpoint. That's different because football is what I did. It wasn't who I was,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
those things become when you mix the two. Oh man, now you're confused. Now you're
Mm-hmm.
confused. So when that platform is ripped away from you, you have no identity outside of that platform. And so I struggled with that until I was able to regain my name and like understand, you know who you are,
Mm-hmm.
know who you right. So so for me, the transition was now going from being congratulated and revered, by 70, 80,000 screaming your name, like let's go. You scoring a touchdown during preseason games, during the in-season game, and then there's no more game to play. And so
Mm,
now you're like, all right, well, who am I? You go to places and you get conversations like, "What's up, man? Dog, I've been waiting for you to play, man. What's going on with you, man? How you doing?" I'm like, I ain't playing no more. It's just like, oh man, what? You all right, man? What's good? Right. So you get back home and you get that feeling of like, dang, now that pride, it kicks in again, right? So
Yeah.
now you feeling like, man, I'm nothing. I didn't accomplish what I set myself out to accomplish. I didn't do this. And so you start talking negatively to yourself and you start berating yourself mentally without you even understanding. You're doing it in silence. So you're going through this transition. And in this transition, what we have to understand is whenever you're transitioning, you have to take the physical stuff, the mental, the emotional stuff with you. Like when you leave from an apartment to go live into another apartment or a house, you got to take your things with you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you're not in the right mindset, you're not taking anything with you, especially when it comes to athletes, right? And so my spirit was still in football, but I had to take everything else. And
Mm.
so my spirit was stuck still in football. But my physical body had to leave. And so mentally I could not cognize how, like it was there was something going on. The equation wasn't equating.
Yeah.
And in my, in my head, I was like, "What's going on? Like how?" And so now you sit and you realize that you're not able to move your body in the way that you want to move your body. Get out there, go run. So now you have to sit with yourself. And when you sit with yourself and you look at yourself in the mirror, all you can think about is, "I'm not here, so that means that I'm not
Yes.
this, you know, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not good enough for life, and I'm weak and I didn't do this, man." And so that weighs on you. And when that weighs on you, you go into suicidal
Mm.
ideation. You start to become extremely depressed and you look at yourself less than the human being that you are. And you forget that you were somebody before you got into this and you're still
Absolutely.
somebody after you leave. Right. And so for me, I had to that was my growing pains because then I had to transition into something else that fulfilled me, but it wasn't making the same amount of money that I was making when I was in the league.
Yeah.
And so the first thing you think about is like, I need to start selling drugs, because that's the only thing that I know that can come in fast in large amounts,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't understand how to be a good steward of your finances,
Yeah.
then you really don't understand how money works, and so you will end up in the same place that you were before you were handed all of these big
That's
paychecks in a
good.
small amount of time,
That's good.
and so that's a psychological growth that you have to overcome as well, because and a psychological obstacle that you have to overcome as well, because man, they don't teach you anything about your finances. They give you this money and you only get paid within 17 to 18 weeks, and the money come like this. Then you get a signing bonus, and then after those 17, 18 months, we got about what, 30 something months left. Right? I'm sorry,
Yep.
weeks. I'm sorry.
Yep.
After the
Hmm.
so 17, 18
Yep.
weeks, we got about 30 something weeks left,
Yep.
and now we got to get back to it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
during that time, if you don't know how to manage your money,
Yep. It's a
that
wrap.
money go quick. You trying to buy a house for yourself, trying to buy a house for mama, you trying to buy a car for yourself, trying to buy a car for mama. If you got a girl, trying to buy something for her, you got siblings, trying to buy something for them. Man, you got to pay your agent. Man, by the time you look up, you hoping for OTAs
You need to re up
the season
again.
to begin.
Yeah.
You need to re up again,
Yeah.
right? And so that's not how the real world lives.
Correct.
And so when you transition into the real world, it's a different pace. The money don't come as fast.
Yeah.
You didn't make no investments. You don't have money to make them. Man, so you go through this transition and you have to learn how to sit, because once everything was moving really, really fast, now everything is moving really, really slow.
Mm.
So you got to find where your pace is.
Yeah.
and
Let
be
me ask
okay with that pace.
Let me ask you
Go
this,
ahead.
PJ, man. I appreciate you, bro. Listen. I know when people watch this episode, man,
Yeah.
they're gonna get so
Yeah.
much out of this, man. Especially our athletes because they don't know this part. This part of it,
Mm. Yeah.
these are the parts where it ain't sexy. So
Hmm.
this ain't viral, right?
Right.
But that's okay because one thing that you and I both know is that foolishness is loud, but wisdom whispers. And you dropped a lot
Ooh.
of knowledge, a lot of wisdom to individuals that play this game, especially within the
Yeah.
NFL space now. These casters,
Yeah.
they're going to experience what you and I experienced earlier, and it can be
Hmm.
to their help or it's going to be to their help or their hurt.
Mm.
It can be to their deliberation or it can be to their detriment. And if it's
Oh,
going to be based on them being able to find true mentors and
yeah.
listening to people like you that have done it. How did you do? I always say this, and here's the question that I have for you when we talk about this. Um, Myron Golden is somebody that I've met and that I've spoken to and listened to, and that's a mentor of mine. And one of the things that he said that many people don't understand how to discover their purpose. Their
Mm.
purpose is given to them by God,
Mm.
and your
Mm.
purpose is found at the intersection of your proficiency and your calling. That proficiency being the thing that everybody is amazed at, but you do so easily. And that calling is that thing that burns deeply inside of you to where
Mm.
even if they pay not, you're going to do that anyway because you feel so moved and so pulled to do it. At the intersection of
Absolutely.
that purpose, and your purpose has a market because God has put something inside of you to run your kingdom, the king's dominion, and there's a market of individuals that want to hear what you have to say and will help you by way of provision because of the knowledge and experience that you possess. My question to you is, based off of my research with you, knowing you and Game Beyond the Game and being on your podcast, man, your calling is to be able to awaken people's spirits, man. And you've been able to find a way to do that and to profit off of that as well, but it's coming from
Absolutely.
a good place. I'm giving you value, therefore you're paying me. How did you discover your purpose? How did you know that that was your purpose? And how is the Game Beyond the Game been for you as it pertains to not only healing yourself from that transition, but also now you're helping others heal?
Mm. 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 Man, I mean, man, that was beautiful, boy. That was magnificent, boy. I'm telling you. Look, I'll start off by this. I get my energy from my energy.
Mm,
Let me slow that down for people that
yeah,
heard it, but they went over their head. I
yeah.
get my energy from my inner G. Okay. So I get my energy, my ENERGY, from my energy, my INNER capital G. So how did I find my purpose was through my inner
Mm,
greatness, my inner gratitude. So my meditation had to sit and be still
mm,
and hear what the calling was, what the purpose was. That's how that's how I discovered my purpose. See, a lot of times we go out searching for the purpose, search. Where is that? Where is that? And then we searching outside of ourselves, you know. But if you are created in the image of the creator,
yeah,
you got to figure out what image are they talking about? What
yeah.
image are they talking about? So you got to look within. And so when you connect with your inner G, your inner God, you connect to the outer G, to the outer God, to the omnipotent, to the great calling. That is how I found my purpose. I connected to the source. Once I
Mm,
connected to the source, then I started to realize, okay, I need to create value so I can get paid for the value. And that's where Game Beyond the Game came. It unfolded out of that
yeah.
Game Beyond the Game because I knew that I had a message. I knew that I needed to be a mentor, but I couldn't be a mentor one on one with people. I had to be a mentor for many, for millions, for thousands of people, for thousands and millions and even billions of people, because I know that everyone goes through a transition and we don't know how to properly transition because the system that's already set up for us doesn't tell us how to transition.
Yeah.
They just give us programs here and there, and if you're not a if you learn completely different. If you learn from a visual, you're not going to be able to learn the same way from someone that is auditorial.
Yeah.
So you have to understand how you learn. This is not school. This is life now.
Mm.
And so I created a platform. I co-founded a platform with my wife, and it's called Game Beyond the Game. And we put on these luxurious and transformative events and retreats where we help high performers like entertainers, professional athletes, doctors, lawyers. We help them elevate their mindset, their vision, their health, and their wealth. And and it was because we see what they run into every day. And so we created a solution-based company that can help them take it to another level,
Yeah.
right? Because I mentioned it before. What you did in the past that got you there is not what's going to help you prevail. And so a lot of people plateau, or a lot of people get lost, or a lot of people are about to quit before they mine the diamond or the gold.
Mm-hmm.
And so all we do is help you zoom out of the situation that you're in and see it from a 30,000-foot view,
Yeah.
and then zoom back in and understand to follow your purpose and then make that purpose popular.
I
Shout
love
outs to
that, man.
Toby. Shout outs to Toby. I got that one for Toby, man.
Yeah,
Toby, wig wig.
yeah, man.
The
He
swag,
rep,
baby.
he
You
rep,
know,
he's doing his thing, man. That's
he doing
beautiful.
this thing, man.
You know, but to that point, you are too, man, and you're helping others to be able to see things, brother. And I appreciate you for that. The one thing that I got from Game Beyond the Game is you're helping to bring uh, awareness to individuals that might be clouded because they're too close to the situation. You're able to
Mm,
allow move themselves from it and to see the whole perspective. And then now that you can see the picture in its totality, now it allows you to jump back into your life, into that moment, and to just allow the walk to happen. I always tell people, man, it's not my job to know the how, the when, or the what, right?
mm,
That's God's job.
right.
My job is just to understand the do, right? Do the thing
Mm,
He
right.
told me to do, and in time,
Absolutely.
that's why I don't believe in goals. I believe in objectives, right? An objective is something a goal is something that you are putting a time frame on. I'm not
Mhm.
God. I can't put a time frame on anything, but an objective
Absolutely.
is something that you are going to go after until it is complete. And whatever time
Mm,
frame that is, that's in God's timing, and everything's beautiful in His time. And you're helping people to realize that. This is
absolutely.
part of the section, man, of our story where we get to the latter part of it, and it's a question to be asked for individuals. This is for our viewers, right? Um, for anybody listening to what you've, all of the different gems that you've dropped, your story, how you overcame adversity, how you overcame the negativity of other people,
Mm,
with you operating in positive spaces, still having to
mm,
deal with the negativity of others because they're not whole inside, right? So they try to
mm.
pass that on to you. But for anybody listening who may be at a crossroads in their life, like you were at Georgia Tech,
Right.
right? What message or guidance would you offer them to overcome that?
Mm. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. Give me a second. It's cliche, but there's light at the end of that darkness. Go and find that light switch to turn that light on. I'll use this analogy. If you enter a dark room that has a lot of objects in the room, but when you enter the room, the light switch is on the other side of the room. When you're trying to navigate through that room, you can probably stub your toe, which creates pain, which we don't like the growing
Mm,
pains. But the growing pains make us stronger. It builds the character. As we continue to navigate this dark room with all of these objects, once we stub our toe, we don't plan on doing it again. So we move with intention. We move slowly, methodically, cautiously. But the minute you get to the other side, you hit that light switch. What happens? Now you become aware, you see things, the light, the room is illuminated, and you can see. Now you can move with intention, and you don't have to worry about stubbing your toe ever again because you know that was the object that you hit your toe on.
Learning.
Right? Learning. So what I would say is sit through it and be still. It's okay to be still, right? It's to be bored is a luxury now. I
Yeah.
tell my kids that they like, Daddy, I'm bored. I was like, well, good. I was like, let's stay that way. Because what we forget is that we think that we have to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
We think we have to keep going. We think, we think we don't need rest.
Mm.
We do. That's why we go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, rest your mind, rest your spirit, uh, put things in perspective. Spirituality first, connect with God, connect with the source first, and then go about your day. Don't go about your day getting on your phone, texting and replying to emails and because looking at Instagram because throughout the day, when your energy goes down, guess what you go back to? You go back to what you started the day off with. So if you started the day off with connecting to the source, when your energy goes down, you're gonna connect back to the source.
That's good.
Just like that. And so that gives you unlimited power and unlimited energy. Most people always ask me, how you got so much energy? I start my morning off by connecting to the source. And I never disconnect from the source.
Mm.
So I always have the energy to fulfill my purpose, to move with intention.
Mm.
Man, look, hey, man, hey.
No, listen, bro. No, that's good, man. And I know somebody like I'm getting hundreds and hearts and fire signs right now. So I know the people that's just on right now, are getting something from it. So I can only imagine as this continues to go out, what's going to happen and how it's going to bless people. And that's why communication is so important. Man, PJ, I
Absolutely.
appreciate you, brother. As we get ready to wrap up, man, where can the listeners connect with you and learn more about what you have going on in your current initiatives?
Man, at Game Beyond the Game, go and follow that page at Game Beyond the Game. Uh, we are constantly giving out information. We're constantly updating you on our events that we have this year. We have a virtual event coming up March 20th. Where my wife and I will give you a snippet of all three Game Beyond the Game in-person events that we have each year. So we have three of them. One is a silent experience. So you have a full day of just being silent and learning. You
Mm.
don't talk, you listen, you absorb, you download the correct information, the authentic information, not nothing that we cipher from Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. No, you are getting concentrated, authentic information that you download. That's the silent experience. You don't speak. Once you come out of that, you start to realize how powerful your words are, how powerful you are when you're intentional about what you do, how you move. You gain a level of awareness. The next one is the best you. We're elevating your mind, your vision, your health, and your wealth. We're talking about the cryptocurrency. We're talking about the future of technology. We're talking about AI. We're talking about human androids and how we need to move in this new regime that we're in, this new world order. The next one is the last one is the transformation masterclass, where we amplify, we align, and evolve your values in life. And so that carries you over to the next year. And then we have our retreats as well, our week-long plus retreats where it's just a full-on experience. So you can find me at the Game Beyond the Game. That's usually where I'm at. And you can find me on my page at Prince ADJR. But those are the two platforms that I'm usually on, and that's about it, man. I don't try to go here, go there. I just try to create like a central location where people can find me, reach out to me, hit me up. I'm available. I'm relatable, and I break things down for you too. just to make
Love it.
sure that you can understand, because we can't just gorge all food, right? They have to be in portions. So same thing when it comes to learning.
Absolutely, man, brother. Listen. I know people gonna get blessed from this, man. I appreciate you, my brother, for everything that you brought to the table today. I knew this was gonna be one of
Absolutely.
the episodes, man, full of wisdom.
Hey.
And listen, the word never go out void. So I'll say this: they that have ears, let he or she hear, and they that have eyes, let he or she see. Man, it's for those individuals. But with that being said,
Man.
I'll sign off with this with Prince. There's power in the pause. That is what this
Mm,
brother has brought to you guys.
mm.
And for me, man, as always, athletes, the sport is what you do. It's not who you are. So
Yes.
stay aligned with the divine, and everything
Mm.
will unwind in its proper time. Well, run well, young lions. Tony the Tycoon, we out, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, Tony, I know you gotta cut it off and get off, but I just want to tell everybody that is listening, Tony, you are an inspiration.
Oh
I
man,
appreciate you when you were a pupil. I appreciate you for running with me, following my lead
absolutely.
when I didn't really understand, but you would you had the things that you had to endure. I want people to understand my brother had to endure a lot of things as well, and you had to make your mindset up, to follow somebody blindly, but you felt that they were doing the right thing.
Yes, sir.
And so them times when I would get out there on the field and I would run out to practice, you were like, I'm gonna follow you too, P. I'm gonna
Yep.
follow you because you saw that I was doing different than what our counterparts, our
Yeah.
peers were doing. So I want to give you your blessings, man. I tell you, I love you, man. I'm proud of
Appreciate
you. I love what you and your brother are doing. So I want to make sure that I elevate you all. And I should have did this in the very beginning, but I'm doing it now. And I just want to tell you, man, like your mother is proud. Everybody is proud, man. And so just continue to keep on what you are doing. You are very intellectual. You are elevating, inspirational, and man, it's all love over here, man. And so I love to see what you're doing. Please keep doing it. Please keep educating people that are misinformed on the truth, man, because you spitting it, boy. You are spitting the truth, and truth with power is undeniable, man. So keep it up.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Blessings.
Much love, man. Appreciate you as well. Man, you have a good one, man. Thank you for your time.
Man, you as well. Peace and power, y'all.